Devastating moment for Prince Harry's reputation and credibility, as he argues with a judge while in the dock, contradicts himself, appears to fib about using the pseudonym Mr. Mischief.
Prince Harry nearly broke down in tears in court today, weeping about Meghan Markle's misery. And he was told to stop arguing back by the judge. Well, Prince Harry was giving evidence in his privacy claim against the publisher of the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday in the High Court today.
Mr. Mischief, a royal family member, just went head-to-head with a High Court judge not once, not twice, but 3 times during a single court session. His attorneys are allegedly jumping ship fast, and his spouse is thousands of miles away posting lifestyle content like everything's perfectly fine. This wasn't merely awkward, it was straight-up chaotic. This is how Prince Harry's legal showdown transformed into an absolute disaster unfolding live. And believe me, the depths of this mess go way beyond surface level. Here's the complete breakdown. January 22, 2026, Harry strolls into London's High Court, expecting his triumphant vindication moment. This was meant to be disciplined and strategic. Instead, chaos erupted immediately.
Arrogant and pig-headed Harry started arguing with the judge. This was just part of their exchange.
Everything going on with Harry today, I feel like it's a need to talk about his big boy man tears. He's so emotional, guys. His poor wife, she lives in misery in her $16 million mansion with her 4.4 million followers on Instagram, her Netflix deal, her show on Netflix, all these sorts of things, and she's so miserable.
Prince Harry, you're crying on the stand. In life, we don't always get what we want, right? We want friends, okay? We've all been in that situation. We want a friend, a loved one, a relative to take accountability, to apologize. It doesn't happen, okay? You're expecting a big newspaper conglomerate to come crawling to you to apologize. It's not gonna happen. You can either move on with your life.
He's targeting Associated Newspapers Limited, the publishers operating Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday, claiming they hacked phones and illegally obtained private intel. The accusations span from 2001 straight through 2013, and we're talking enormous financial stakes here. A $38 million legal war, and Harry's not fighting solo. He's fronting a coalition of 7 prominent figures, including Elton John and Elizabeth Hurley. This confrontation was designed as his ultimate reckoning with British media, his defining moment exposing corruption, his platform for public redemption. But the second Harry took the witness seat, everything imploded spectacularly. Let me walk through this disaster step by step, because the unraveling happened in ways absolutely nobody predicted. Imagine this scene. Harry's seated in the testimony box.
Harry's evidence came forward a day. So Harry originally wasn't meant to be giving evidence until tomorrow. Now, I think it scrambled him a bit. He seemed uneasy from the moment he arrived. He didn't really settle properly in the witness box, and he came in, and Anthony White very cleverly immediately got him onto this thing of being part of the institution lane, and right from the off, Harry was on the defensive and very bristly and very abrasive, and the judge intervened 3 times to try and calm him down. I mean, the first time, which was the one that you showed there, he was actually quite sympathetic, and he was quite like, look.
Daily Mail's barrister Anthony White launches into questioning. Within moments, Harry's not simply answering, he's arguing back, contradicting, escalating, getting visibly agitated. The courtroom atmosphere became unbearably tense. Justice Matthew Nicklin, a veteran media law authority who's handled countless high-stakes cases, actually had to pause proceedings multiple times because Harry kept disputing instead of responding. That's unprecedented behavior. The initial warning came gently. The judge attempted calming the situation, essentially telling Harry, "Listen, you're doing what many litigants do, arguing back when questioned. You don't need to carry this burden. That's literally your lawyer's job. Just answer what's asked." The message couldn't be clearer. Stick to responses, let your legal representation handle combat.
Prince Harry broke down in big boy tears as he gave some testimony today in his lawsuit against the Daily Mail, claiming that they have made his wife's life an absolute misery.
Prince Harry, right before we got on here, we also found out he's on the stand today in London. He's in court. I feel like every time we come on here, Prince Harry's in court. He doesn't look great in the court sketch, I'm going to be honest.
Well, as we all know, Prince Harry is in the UK. He is testifying around this case that he has against the Associated News.
That's precisely why attorneys exist. But Harry ignored it completely. The second judicial intervention showed growing impatience. You could sense frustration building throughout the room. Harry continued debating rather than answering. By the third interruption, things got firm instantly. Harry started arguing about what constitutes legitimate journalistic sourcing. That's when the judge completely shut it down, essentially declaring, "I'm literally a media law specialist. This is my expertise. I know exactly what I'm discussing." Imagine that scenario for a moment. A prince arguing media law with a high court judge inside that judge's own courtroom. That's not confidence. That's reckless. And here's why this matters critically. This isn't a jury trial. There's no audience to sway, no emotional appeals to deploy, no crowd to charm.
When you look at him bringing up Meghan in this moment about what happened in the past, for me, it looks like he is trying to do what happened in the past because of what happened to Meghan in the present. But if it is about what happened to Meghan in the present, then why not bring a lawsuit about what happened to Meghan in the present? You know why he won't do that? Because, first of all, there's not other people that he can come in with this same lawsuit to strengthen his case like he has with the other people that are in on this court case, all these other people. It's just him and his life with this woman. But also, Meghan's life that she lived in the UK.
There's exactly one person determining this outcome, the identical judge Harry disputed with 3 times that morning. That judge alone controls whether Harry wins or loses everything. That's the complete equation. Yet Harry couldn't maintain composure for even one session. One legal observer present in court later stated Harry appeared rattled, uncomfortable, and like he never properly settled into testimony. The Daily Mail's legal squad executed a clever tactical maneuver the day before court that completely disrupted Harry's rhythm. They slashed their opening statements from a day and a half down to merely 90 minutes, which pushed Harry's testimony forward by an entire day. The lack of preparation showed instantly. This is where things became emotional and seriously bewildering because during testimony, Harry's voice cracked and he appeared close to tears, stating directly from the courtroom, "They have made my wife's life an absolute misery. I think it is fundamentally wrong to have to put all of us through this again, when all we were asking for is an apology and some accountability."
I think Harry reveals more than he thinks he did, because he's, of course, trying to pull out the heartstrings about his wife, who, honestly, I feel like the judge should have told him straight to his face, your wife's feelings have no bearing on this trial whatsoever, Harry. This is about Chelsea, Cressida, your former girlfriends, you know? But he has to bring up his wife. I'm sure that's what his lawyer was doing. But I honestly have absolutely zero sympathy for him and his wife in this instance. If they had been quiet and dignified, would I have some more sympathy?
Initially, that sounds emotional and sympathetic, correct? But then one critical detail flips the entire moment upside down. This lawsuit concerns alleged phone hacking and illegal information gathering that supposedly occurred between 2001 and 2013. That timeline matters enormously. Harry didn't even encounter Meghan until 2016, meaning she had absolutely zero connection to the 14 articles he's disputing in this case. Not involved, not referenced, not even present in that phase of his existence. So why is she suddenly centerpiece of his testimony? Why inject her into a lawsuit where she holds zero legal relevance? And here's where it becomes even stranger. While Harry stood isolated in a London courtroom with nobody supporting him, no familiar presence in the gallery, Meghan was back in Montecito, California. Reports indicate she was uploading to Instagram that identical week, showcasing their residence, their pool, and their lifestyle. The comment sections detonated immediately, with one person stating, "Why is he even mentioning her? She's nothing to do with the case and the years that these claims were about." While another added, "Meghan is 5,000 miles away posting on social media while Harry falls apart in court." The optics couldn't have looked worse. This couple constructed their complete image around being united against adversity, a ride-or-die partnership.
It is all caught up on an emotional high, emotional roller coaster of, having to work with the press, having to then be, part of the press's news gathering, story making arm, and there's no real balance between the two. But at the same time, that's just the life you get. It's a quid pro quo. You get this luxurious life, you're born into privilege, things you never had to work for. But the compromise to all of that is that now you have to put up with things in the press that probably do make your life miserable.
But when Harry entered what he labels the most crucial legal confrontation of his existence, he stood there completely alone. And people noticed intensely. And just when it appeared this couldn't look any messier, things escalated from disastrous to absolutely unbelievable. Harry stood in that courtroom complaining about media commercializing his private existence, stating directly, "I've never believed that my life is open season to be commercialized by these people." That statement stopped people cold. This is the identical individual who released a 400-page memoir titled Spare, where he shared intensely personal family moments, private dialogues, and text exchanges between his wife and Catherine about bridesmaids' dresses. He openly discussed losing his virginity, past drug consumption, and his military service, transforming his own existence into a global commodity. He followed that with a multi-million-dollar Netflix documentary where cameras tracked him and Meghan through their private struggles, then sat down for a massive Oprah interview watched by tens of millions worldwide to discuss deeply personal family matters. Yet now he's standing in court claiming the media has no right to commercialize his life. That contradiction landed brutally with the public and raised questions he clearly wasn't prepared to answer. One comment that accumulated over 1,200 likes summarized it perfectly. If Harry wanted privacy, he wouldn't have released Spare. Another person followed stating, "You can't sell your story to the media and then complain about media intrusion. That is sheer hypocrisy."
Showing off their home, their pool, their lifestyle.
I think part of him is happy to be there because he misses the British culture and he hates being at the house with Meghan. I think Prince Harry would rather travel to London to sit in a courthouse than be stuck in the asylum with her and Montecito. Okay, I just think that's the truth. And then some other bad news in Harry and Meghan world, their show has been canceled. Season 3 of With Love, Meghan has been canceled by Netflix. They won't be doing any more, which I'm not shocked because nobody was watching it, okay? That show is like number 5,206 on the Netflix charts. So Harry and Meghan, I think they're done. Okay, Harry and Meghan, if I were you guys, your show's been canceled. You're not going to be the next Martha Stewart, Meghan. I mean, the fact that Meghan Markle had a cooking show and she moved pretzels from one bag.
Honestly, that sentiment circulated rapidly. The judge could detect it, the lawyers could detect it, and everyone observing from outside could detect it too. The problem is straightforward but explosive. Harry wants both options. He wants to earn millions telling his own narrative, but he wants nobody else permitted to discuss it, frame it, or question it. That contradiction kept hanging over the courtroom like a thundercloud. Then things got even more uncomfortable when Chelsea Davy came up. Remember her? Harry's former girlfriend, the one he dated for years before they separated in 2010. Chelsea has long moved forward with her existence. She's married, has children, and operates a successful jewelry business, all while staying distant from royal drama. She's lived quietly and with dignity. But suddenly her identity was dragged straight back into court. Several of the articles Harry's disputing involved Chelsea, and he discussed how the press made her existence difficult, even revealing that he contacted her the night before his testimony to discuss what genuinely happened back then. Think about that for a moment. Imagine how Chelsea feels, how her husband feels being pulled back into a circus they escaped years ago. One comment even stated, "Chelsea should issue a cease and desist and stop Harry from using her name to prop up what they called his ridiculous court case." That comment didn't emerge from nowhere. What made it even more awkward was the tone Harry employed when discussing Chelsea in court. The emotion, the regret, the heavy, what could have been energy was impossible to miss.
This is my job. I understand that this is a big moment for you, but you're making a mistake that a lot of people make. Let me just tell you, your job now is just to answer these questions. Let your legal team answer the case. And Harry seemed to kind of go, "Okay, my lord, yeah, whatever." Then he carried on, then he did it again, and then he did it a third time, and it was really bad the third time. So
all while his current wife was back in California posting on Instagram. People detected that contrast immediately, and it didn't help his image whatsoever. Then the Daily Mail's lawyers dropped another twist by mentioning something labeled the Mr. Mischief Facebook account. They claimed Harry utilized this alias to contact journalists on social media, including Charlotte Griffiths from Mail on Sunday. Harry denied it outright, but the lawyers suggested they possessed receipts backing it up. That wasn't the end either. One of the journalists Harry accused, Katie Nichol, pushed back through the legal squad saying, "No, Harry, you invited me to party with you at Kensington Roof Gardens in 2011, basically declaring they weren't enemies whatsoever. According to her side, they were in identical social circles, friendly, and on good terms at that time. That detail struck hard because it fractures his complete narrative wide open. It suggests Harry wasn't just an innocent target being pursued by hostile reporters, but someone who played the media game when it benefited him and is now attempting to rewrite history when it doesn't. Now we reach the most serious component of this complete mess. Growing reports indicate key members of Harry's legal squad have either resigned or are seriously considering abandoning the case. That's not normal, and it's not minor. When solicitors step back mid-trial, that's a massive warning flag waving in obvious sight.
So this is mostly over his time with Chelsea Davy. Not Meghan Markle, Chelsea Davy, the woman who I think honestly probably truly loved Harry for Harry. And I don't think she was all that interested in royalty, the royal trappings, in the money or the fame, anything like that. She is not interested in that. She's proven that over her years since. Meghan Markle, meanwhile, was absolutely attracted not to him, but to what he could give her. So let's keep going.
One legal analyst explained it clearly, stating, "When lawyers walk away like that, it's usually because they believe their client's instructions are no longer sustainable, or the evidence has completely collapsed. They're not abandoning the law. They're abandoning Harry's version of events." Suddenly, the Daily Mail's strategy makes significantly more sense. They arrived loaded with emails, phone records, and documentation pointing to legitimate journalistic sources. That preparation is now placing Harry's complete case under serious pressure. This is where the case starts appearing less like a fight for justice and more like a slow collapse in real time. Because once the cracks commenced showing, everything followed. Court insiders began whispering that Harry's testimony wasn't landing how he thought it would. Instead of sounding composed and credible, he came across scattered, emotional, and stuck in his own head. That's problematic when facts matter more than feelings. Multiple legal observers pointed out that Harry relied heavily on assumptions instead of hard proof. Repeatedly, his answers leaned on phrases like believing something happened or feeling certain the press was behind it. But belief isn't evidence, and in a courtroom, especially one handling media law, that distinction matters enormously. The defense jumped on that weakness immediately. At multiple points, Harry admitted he couldn't actually prove who leaked what or how certain stories were sourced. He suggested it must have originated from illegal activity, but when pressed for specifics, things got vague rapidly. The defense lawyers didn't even need to raise their voices, they just let the gaps speak for themselves. Silence can be louder than shouting in court. Observers also noticed how frequently Harry circled back to his general distrust of media instead of sticking to the articles in question. That emotional pattern may play well in interviews, but in a legal setting, it weakens your case. This trial isn't about feelings, reputation, or long-standing resentment. It's about proof, timelines, and sources. Harry struggled to stay locked into that lane. Then came the moment that genuinely changed the temperature in the room. The defense highlighted how many of the stories Harry complained about could be traced back to public appearances, official statements, or well-known social connections. That undercuts the hacking claim in a major way. If information is already publicly available, it doesn't need to be stolen. Some legal experts stated this was the point where the judge visibly leaned in, not emotionally, but analytically. This wasn't about sympathy anymore. It was about whether the claims could survive close inspection. That's when the imbalance became obvious. The defense was composed, structured, and document-heavy, while Harry's side leaned hard on narrative and memory. People following the case also noticed something else. Harry often framed himself as powerless, but the court kept circling back to the fact that he's one of the most recognized people on the planet. Access, privilege, and influence kept emerging indirectly, and that contrast didn't help his argument. The idea that he had zero control over his public image didn't fully add up. Online reactions only intensified as these details leaked out. Commentators began declaring this wasn't a case built on solid ground, but one driven by emotion and long-standing frustration. Some even questioned whether this lawsuit was ever about winning or if it was about making a statement regardless of outcome. By the end of the day, the mood around the courtroom had clearly shifted. What started as a high-profile challenge to tabloids now appeared like a risky gamble spiraling fast. The confidence Harry walked in with didn't match the uncertainty he walked out carrying. The most damaging part? None of this was hidden. Every stumble, every unclear answer, every correction from the judge was being documented, analyzed, and shared in real time. In a case centered on media power, Harry was losing control of the narrative again, right in front of everyone. The defense laid it all out, and it struck hard. They demonstrated that many of the 14 articles Harry's disputing were built on information from people who willingly spoke to press. That detail changes everything. Some of those sources were reportedly people from Harry's own social circle, not shadowy figures hiding in darkness. That alone undercuts the entire hacking narrative. It doesn't stop there. Journalists Rebecca English and Katie Nichol are both set to testify. These aren't random bloggers or gossip accounts. These are established professionals with long careers. They're stepping up to defend their reputations publicly. They're not backing down, and that raises the stakes even higher. Now, let's discuss the financial nightmare closing in rapidly. If Harry loses this case, he doesn't just walk away disappointed. He's on the hook for Daily Mail's legal costs. That could mean tens of millions of pounds. That kind of loss would be devastating for anyone. On top of that, reports claim Harry still owes money from previous legal battles. Some sources even suggest he's already around $38 million in debt. This lawsuit was supposed to be his major moment, his payoff, his redemption arc, maybe even a settlement to fix his money problems. Instead, it's transforming into a public unraveling that could seriously wreck him financially. So zoom out for a second and examine the bigger picture. Harry is stuck between two worlds, and neither one is supporting him anymore. There's the royal world he was born into, the one that protected him, cleaned up mistakes, and gave him endless advantages. He walked away from that world and burned those bridges publicly. He wrote a book tearing into that life, and now there's no going back. But the new world he attempted to build in California isn't holding together either. The Netflix deal is gone, the Spotify partnership collapsed, and the projects meant to rebrand them didn't land how they hoped. Even their charity efforts struggled gaining traction, and their overall brand has taken hit after hit. This lawsuit was supposed to fix everything. Instead, Harry argued with the judge 3 times in one day. His legal team is reportedly stepping back. The evidence isn't lining up with his claims. His credibility took damage. After contradictions from his own book came back into focus, and the person he claims this fight is all about isn't even in the courtroom. Public opinion didn't stay quiet about it either. Comment sections lit up instantly. One person wrote, "He's his own worst enemy and delusional." Another stated, "Court is for facts, not feelings." One comment that kept getting shared declared, "Maybe if he doesn't like the press, he and his wife should stop phoning them." Here's the brutal truth people keep circling back to. Harry wanted to be viewed as a warrior for justice, standing up to corrupt media power. Instead, many now see someone acting entitled, deflecting blame, and struggling to handle criticism while attempting to control who gets to tell his story. He wants to profit from his life, but stop others from writing about it. That contradiction isn't landing well. The judge seems to see through it, the lawyers clearly see through it, and the public definitely sees through it. The only person who doesn't appear to see it is Harry himself, and that might be the most uncomfortable part of this entire saga. So what do you think? Is Harry right to take on the tabloids, or is this shaping up to be one of the biggest examples of public hypocrisy we've seen in years? If you watched this and have thoughts, drop them in the comments below. If this breakdown made you see things differently, hit subscribe and stay locked in for more deep dives like this. Don't forget to like the video and share it with someone who needs to see it.